365 Sports.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this Monday. Another week now underway here at 365 Sports Mizzou with Rogue Media. My name is Davis Wilson. Happy to have you here. Yeah, it's interesting. Hey, I'll be honest. I'm getting a little frustrated because my Wi-Fi, I'm going to try not to call it a mean name, but I'm really getting pretty frustrated with it. I've started the recording twice, and it's buffering and everything. So if there is a little buffer, I'm going to try not to let it happen this time around, but there's nothing I can do. I'm at the hands of the Wi-Fi here. And, I feel like my best stuff, I've already used my best stuff the first time I recorded. And then, the other good stuff I used the second time I recorded. So I'm going to have to dig deep here to try to put together a good show, because that's what I want to do for you guys. And gosh dang it, I swear if this Wi-Fi goes out again, you may never see me again. This computer stuff just isn't for me sometimes. I'll tell you what, I feel like it should work. If we're going to rely on Wi-Fi and data or the internet, it should work. It should work. So I'm going to hope it works. I'm going to hope it worked this time around. I reset the app. It's going to be good. Enough of that, though. Let's get into the show. Good little rhyme there. Missouri sports, there's some stuff to talk about, but this is interesting. We're kind of in the middle of two waves of Mizzou sports. Game for, the bowl game against Virginia, the Gator Bowl coming up later in December. Kind of waiting on that. We're waiting on the portal to get going. We're waiting on, the recruiting madness to start up again. And also, in basketball, we're kind of playing these just horrible non-conference games that, I'll say this. I'll put it this way. I love Mizzou basketball. I love it as much as Mizzou football. But not, I don't even want to watch us play. I don't even want to watch us beat Bethune Cookman by however much we beat them last night. Or it wasn't last night. I think it was yesterday afternoon. And I kept up with it, but we beat this team by 22. Why are we playing so many why are we playing so many terrible games? And then the good games we play, we lose. I shouldn't be saying we. They, Missouri. I'm not a part of the team. I'm a professional. But this is what I mean. The Missouri. We, as in Missouri fans, that's what I'm talking about. We have to watch this team play the most boring games, and they're not even, destroying these teams like they probably should. And then when they play good games, it's like they don't remember how to play basketball. So all that to say, we're kind of in a lull here. We're playing really bad non-conference games, but the good news is, and maybe I shouldn't be asking for tougher games because boy, does it get tough here. You got Illinois a week from today, so we won't have any basketball all week. And then you're off for another 2 weeks after that. 1.5 weeks, 2 weeks. I don't know. But then SEC play starts. So between now and January 3rd, Missouri only plays one game. They played Illinois on December 22nd, and then their next game after that is on the 3rd against Florida. So we're kind of waiting on this to pick up as well. But all that to say, there are things to talk about in the Missouri sports world. All right, there we go. That was a buffer. I told you it's going to happen. That's the last one, though. I won't let it happen again. Anyway, I did go back and watch some of the Bethune Cookman basketball game. Missouri won that game 82-60, I believe. So I will talk about it, even though it was, it's just like, okay, we got to play another terrible team. I'm going to talk about Missouri basketball in a second. I am going to start with Mizzou football because there is some news. I talked about the possibility of this news happening on Friday, and it happened on Friday just after I recorded. Kirby Moore, Missouri offensive coordinator since 2023, is on the move. He is taking a head coaching job, a promotion, taking a head coaching job for Washington State. For the Cougars, he's a Washington native, so it's pretty cool for him, I think, to get to do that. Yeah, I think it's exciting for both parties. I think it was probably time for a change, on both sides. And I will say this, I was critical of Kirby Moore this year, and I'm not going to sit here and blame Missouri's offensive struggles on Kirby Moore because you cannot put all the blame on him. I don't think he had a fantastic year, but it cannot be all his fault. You have a quarterback who can't throw, and that really puts some restrictions on what you can do offensively. But the year before that, 2024, also frustrating. You get your whole team back pretty much from 2023, or at least your key playmakers on offense. You get most of them back, and it's just not quite the same. But I will say that in 2023, the offense was awesome. The offense was fun. Brady Cook had a career year. I'll talk about Brady Cook in a little bit. Luther Burden had a career year. Cody Schrader had a career year. Theo Weiss was great. Norfleet was a true freshman and got going. It was a lot of fun. Javon Foster was on that team offensively. The offense was great in 2023, and that was because of Kirby Moore. He came in and took over play calling duties from Drinkwitz, and immediately you see a shift in the offense. And I mean, I think that, Missouri doesn't go win the Cotton Bowl without Kirby Moore. So he does deserve a ton of credit for what he's done here for Missouri. And I hope Missouri fans recognize that, because I know there's some frustration after the last 2 years of, an underwhelming offense. But I think that he does deserve credit, because before he got here, the offense was even worse. Some of the younger Missouri fans may not know this, but good Lord, the offense before Kirby Moore was horrible, even worse. So it's still an improvement, and I think he does deserve credit. In terms of who could replace him, now it's kind of the fun game of, all right, who do we get to get excited about now? I personally would love a guy who could come mix it up a little bit. Obviously, Missouri is going to stay a run-first, run-focused offense because you have Ahmad Hardy. That's kind of Drinkwitz's, that's what he's known for. He's always had a good running offense, even when the rest of the offense was bad. Your examples are like Tyler Beatty was awesome. The offense was bad, but he was awesome. So I think they're obviously going to be a run-first team, but I would love to get a guy in here who could revitalize the passing attack. And I know you got to get a quarterback to do that. And maybe Bo, they feel good about Bo progressing. Maybe you feel good about Zollers progressing. Maybe you're going to bring in a quick 1-year quarterback to bridge the gap between Bo and Zollers. Maybe that's okay to do. I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. But you do need a quarterback, but you also need an offense that's, fun and inventive and, motion, and you throw it around, you throw it in the middle of the field. Like Kirby Moore never did that. So I would like a guy who can mix it up a little bit, and if nothing else, just give us a fun offense. I think since I've been watching Missouri, quarterbacks have been Connor Bazelak. You had a very brief Tyler Macon start against Georgia. Then it was Brady Cook. So Connor Bazelak, I'm not going to really count Macon, but he did start a game. Brady Cook. And then now Bo Perbula. And while I think Brady Cook was awesome, and I will forever love that guy, he is one of my favorite college players I've ever watched, just because of how much he loved Missouri and the university and the program. And he would die on the field. I love guys like that. He wasn't a superstar passer. That's not what he did. He was just a competitor who, more often than not, seemed to get it done. So, and Bazelak, he had plenty of drawbacks, and Bro didn't show you much as a passer at all this year. Actually, he showed you that probably he's not very good as a passer, if anything. So, I would really love to just have a passing attack that you feel good about, and that is, can hurt defenses. Like you can chunk plays. Missouri's offense, the only chunk plays they get are on the ground, and I don't think that's very sustainable when you play against these SEC defenses that can just say, all right, we're going to stop the run game, and then everything else, we'll be fine. So I'd love a coordinator who can mix it up a little bit, give us more of a passing attack to watch. And nobody knows who they're going to hire. I think a lot of websites and publications are putting out candidate lists that I've read, and I agree with some, and I've looked into some of my own. And there are some connections here that can make sense. Like, I think you have to start with the candidates that are right in-house. You have Jacob Peeler, a wide receivers coach who's done amazing things for the wide receiver room in the last couple of years since he's come to Missouri. I think he is a candidate. I think you should give him a chance. I mean, I think I'm not sure you should hire him, but he deserves to be a candidate. He and Curtis Looper, both Missouri running back coach. Peeler, I don't think has offensive coordinator experience. I don't know that for sure, but I don't think he does. Curtis Looper was the co-offensive coordinator for TCU under Gary Patterson before he came to Missouri to be the running back coach. So he has experience. Curtis Looper has coached Schrader, Noel, and now, of course, Ahmad Hardy. He's done an awesome job. I really think Missouri has one of the best wide receiver coaches and one of the best running back coaches in the conference. So that's a huge deal. Those two guys, your in-house candidates. And some other guys with connections. Casey Woods was the tight end coach for Missouri in 2021 and 2020, 2021. Left, came to Dallas, and he's now the offensive coordinator for SMU. And SMU has been very good offensively, for sure. Made the playoff last year. So that's an option. Casey Woods. Garrett Riley would be a home run hire, in my opinion. I grew up as a TCU fan, and so even though I was at Missouri, I still was very, involved in terms of rooting for TCU during the 2022 season where they made a run at the national championship. Garrett Riley was their offense coordinator. That offense was so much fun to watch. You have Max Duggan, who, speaking of Max, guys who would rather die on the field than lose, like I said with Brady Cook, Max Duggan is the guy for that description. Duggan is my favorite college football player of all time. I'm sure that'll change and the Missouri guy will get in there, but right now, man, I love Max Duggan, and Garrett Riley was a huge part of his turnaround as a quarterback. So that is a candidate that I think would be awesome. He is the Clemson offensive coordinator right now. Before that, obviously TCU. He's the brother of Lincoln Riley. That would be an amazing hire. I don't know if he would come, but he does have a connection with Drinkwitz. When Drinkwitz was the head coach at App State, he was Garrett Riley was the running back coach. So they have worked together before. Another kind of big-time hire would be Gus Malzahn, who a ton of SEC coaching experience, was the Florida State offense coordinator not too long ago. Connections with Drinkwitz. Same thing with former Auburn head coach Brian Harsin. Before he was at Auburn, he was with Boise State. I think he was with Cal this year. But he has Drinkwitz connections as well. So there are connections, and there are guys who would be a nice fit. So we'll have to see. We'll see what happens there. But that is kind of the offensive coordinator update. I don't know who they're going to hire, and no one really does. But it's a good opportunity. Missouri also, obviously, a part of Drinkwitz's new contract is he gets $4 more million to spend towards the assistant, salary pool. So that gives you more opportunity to go get someone you want. All right, let's move on. Other Mizzou football news. I'm not going to dwell on this too much because I feel like we've been talking about it for months, and I thought it was going to be over now, but it's not. Michigan fires Sharon Moore for cause. Really a crazy situation there right now in Michigan. But the Missouri tie-in here is that there are reports that Michigan has checked in with Drinkwitz, or at least Drinkwitz's representatives. And, despite signing a contract extension, maybe he's a candidate for Michigan. I don't think he'll leave. I'm going to say that right now. I think you don't sign a contract extension and leave right away. You don't say you're staying and then leave unless you're Blake Baker. But, I like to think that Drinkwitz doesn't do that. I think, I do think Michigan is one of the best jobs in the country, but I don't know. I think he's got a great situation here with Missouri, so I don't think he does it. There's no reason for me to think that that's going to happen. That's what I'll say. A couple nice. Oh, here we go. AP All-Americans came out today, like just before I started recording. Missouri has two All-Americans this year. Two. You can guess who one of them is. Ahmad Hardy is a first-team All-American. Congrats to Ahmad Hardy. And right tackle Keegan Trost is a third-team All-American. Pretty cool stuff. I went back and I looked at a list of past AP All-American first-teamers for Missouri. And here you go. I'll read them off to you. Cody Schrader, 2023. Of course, an incredible year there. We all remember that. Michael Sam, a defensive end back in 2013. Michael Egnew, the current coach at Tolton Catholic. I covered Tolton Catholic football, I want to say 2023, I think. And so I talked to him a lot. Good guy, good coach, great tight end for Missouri back in 2010. Chase Kaufman, another tight end, he was there in 2008. Jeremy Macklin, receiver, also 2008. Martin Rucker, tight end in 2007. And then it gets very historical here. It goes back all the way to 1981. Jeff Gaylord, you have Roger Worley in 1968, Johnny Rowland, 1965, Danny LaRose, 1960, and Daryl Jenkins, all the way back in 1941. That's pretty crazy. And then AP All-American third-teamers that went to Missouri. Javon Foster, 2023, just talked about him, tackle. You have John Clay, 1984, Scott Anderson, 1973, and Conrad Hitchler, 1962. So there's some names that have done it before. Last little thing on Missouri football. Brady Cook. Speaking of Brady Cook, gets his first start in the NFL with the New York Jets. They lose, but the Jets gave up 40 points to Jacksonville. And Brady Cook scored 20 points for the Jets. He started the game like 6 for 6 with 51 yards and a touchdown. Finished 22 of 33 for 176 yards, 1 touchdown. He did throw 3 interceptions, so not the perfect day, but he ran for 39 yards. I think he did better than you can expect an undrafted rookie to do. So, hey, maybe the Jets, maybe the answer the Jets have been looking for all along is Brady Cook. We'll see. I don't know if they're going to let him finish the year. It depends on if they get healthier or whatever. But congrats to Brady Cook. I love it. And it's funny. The Jets gave up 48 points to the Jaguars. Can you guess who the Jets defensive coordinator was? Can you guess? Anybody? Steve Wilkes, former Missouri defensive coordinator. Did not do great here at Missouri. There's a funny tweet about how Wilkes is letting Brady Cook down again. But not funny because Wilkes was fired yesterday. So a shame for him. And but, another Missouri connection worth talking about. Luther Burden also, a great week for Missouri alum. Luther Burden, what a game this guy had. Led the Bears in receiving yards and in targets and in catches in Chicago's 31-3 win over the Browns. 6 catches on 7 targets for 84 yards. Had a couple big plays, nearly a touchdown on one of them. Look, I'm going to say it. Luther Burden is going to be the Bears wide receiver one. And I'll say this, man. Last year when, I was still kind of working for the Missouri and, covering the draft, going to the combine and everything, I could not believe that this guy, Luther Burden, was not going to be a just shoo-in to be a first-round pick. I could not believe it. This guy is so good. And if you get caught up in his stats from 2024, sure, you're going to think, oh, what's so special about Burden? But if you watch him play football, if you watched him at Missouri at all, this guy is incredible. And I cannot believe that people overthought this and the Bears got him in the second round. Good for the Bears for snatching him up, because I cannot believe, you have other guys. I'm not going to list names or anything of who went ahead of him, but he, to me, outside of a couple guys, was the best receiver in the class for me. It's just and I'm biased. I got to watch him every week. I watched every game he played. So maybe that doesn't make me biased. Maybe that makes me the expert here. But, I mean, Luther Burden is incredible, and he's going to be the Bears wide receiver one next season. I'll tell you that. He is. That's my prediction. So shout out to the Missouri alum, Luther Burden, Brady Cook. Very cool. Good weekend for them. In other football news, non-Mizzou related, you have Fernando Mendoza of Indiana winning the Heisman. Congratulations, Fernando Mendoza. It actually is a little bit Mizzou related, because some of you may remember that he almost came to Missouri. It was between Indiana and Missouri. That's what they said. And then Bo Prabula comes to Missouri. I think probably Missouri knew he was going to Indiana, so they took Prabula. I don't know, but Missouri really, really wanted Mendoza, and you got to think, what if Mendoza comes to Missouri instead of Indiana? Is Missouri going to the playoff? I think probably. I think there's a very good chance that Missouri is a playoff team, maybe even an SEC title team, SEC title contending team with Mendoza. So congrats to him, though. Very cool. Ended up being very glad that Pavia didn't win it. Golly, I used to like Pavia, but what a jerk he came off as all week. Came off as such a jerk all week long. So glad he didn't win. It's ridiculous. I think Ahmad Hardy should have been at the ceremony. Jeremiah Love was there. Jeremiah Love had a great season, but come on. Ahmad Hardy had a great season. Again, bias. Put the bias aside. All right. That's all I have for football. Let's take a quick break, and we'll talk some basketball.
Missouri, your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in your state. Now you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more. All from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. Missouri fans know game day, the tailgates, the noise, the passion. Now, with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every snap, every touchdown, every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense. Just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code ALLMIZZOU. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code ALLMIZZOU. Crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER 21+, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, we're back. Let's talk basketball here before I let you guys go. Missouri, we already talked about their win over Alabama State, but they beat Bethune Cookman last night or yesterday, 82-60. Missouri moves to 10-2. They're still 9-0 at home. They got two home. They got Illinois coming up. Then it's Alabama in SEC plays kicks in. Sorry, it's Florida, I think, actually. Yeah, it's Florida to start. Missouri scores 82 points in the win. They outscore Bethune Cookman 39-25 in the first half, 43-35 in the second half. I really love what you're getting right now out of Jacob Cruz. He's the bright spot for me of this team through whatever the first couple months of the season. He had 20 points, led the team in scoring, 8 of 9 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3, 5 rebounds as well. He is shooting the ball super well, really, really well. He's shooting 57% from the field. And he is shooting, what do we have here? Anyone want to guess? 53% from 3 on 5.8 attempts per game. If that holds, that's career highs in both field goal percentage and 3-point percentage. He's been awesome. He's been better than I could have expected. I was nervous about him having an increased role this year because last year he's kind of a loose cannon at sometimes, but he has been great. Mark Mitchell plays well here, 19 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, 4 steals, 4 offensive rebounds for him. Yeah, he's going to give you, it feels like 17 to 25, somewhere in there every game. He's going to give you pretty consistently a good chunk of points. Anthony Robinson had a great week, starting to get things going. He had 15 points on 6 of 9 shooting, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. This guy fills up the stat sheet. If Missouri wants to be a competitive team in the SEC this year, if they want to make the tournament, Anthony Robinson has to be really good. And he was really good in this one. So there you go. Boateng has been starting the last couple games. Still not doing a ton, but scored 6 points, grabbed 4 rebounds. He's still coming along, I think. Missouri scores 82 points, allows 60. Bethune Cookman is god-awful. But remember, they almost beat Auburn in the first week of the season. Then they got beat by 40 by Miami. They lost to Dayton only by 9. Lost to Illinois, though, by 44 points. So they stink. They're not good. But Missouri takes care of business. It's not a ton to say about this, honestly. I just think the non-conference schedule thing with Gates has been – you're playing some of the worst teams you can possibly schedule. Could we schedule a couple more, testers? Minnesota's your tester. And you win that game. Minnesota's not that good. Notre Dame, good tester. Kansas is your rival, so I don't count that as part of your scheduling. That's just what's going to happen. Notre Dame, that's a good one to schedule. Like more games like that not necessarily are, the best teams in the country. You don't have to do that, but some teams that'll challenge you a little bit because you play all these terrible teams and you run into Notre Dame on the road, and it's like, yeah, Notre Dame's been tested. Missouri has not. Of course, Notre Dame's going to pull it out in the end. And you go to you play Kansas, and Kansas has played a ton of really good teams. They have the advantage there. They're going to beat you. So I'm tired of all these silly games. Thankfully, we're done with them for the year. But next year, maybe we should schedule a couple more tough games. I don't know. Tougher games. You don't have to schedule, Purdue and Houston, whatever. But, just a couple tough games. Don't think that's going to kill anybody. I think that'll be okay. And I actually think it's going to help out. It's going to help Missouri out in the long run. I don't have a ton to say about the game itself. Like I said, I didn't watch it live. I went back and watched it. A win's a win. We'll take it. 10-2 heading into Illinois and then SEC play. It's going to get tougher. You better be ready. Hopefully Missouri can get healthier. I haven't heard anything about Jaden Stone. I imagine he's going to be back pretty soon. Trent Pierce, no idea. I have no idea what's happening with him. I think you probably expect him back at some point soon. I think Gates said he's day-to-day, but still haven't seen him. We'll see. I think I did see Jaden Stone still had a cast on his hand yesterday. Someone reported that. So if Missouri can get healthy, it's going to be better. I think the offense improves a lot with Jaden Stone in there. And Trent Pierce is an experienced player that I expect will probably be better than he was last year. So that's important. But we'll see what happens. Hey, thanks for joining me today. Sorry for the little pause in the middle. Hopefully didn't interrupt your listening experience too much. Appreciate you guys for joining me. Have a happy Monday. I'll see you soon.
365 Sports.